Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, November the 10th, the year 2014. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Hope you guys had a fabulous weekend. Hope you caught some of the games over the weekend. Let's recap what went on in the sports world the last few days. Let's start in the NFL. Let's go up to Buffalo, where the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills 17-13. Chiefs up to 6-3. Bills down to 5-4. I'll tell you, Buffalo was up 13-3 going to the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs outscored the Bills 14-0 in the fourth quarter and take the game. I've been telling you about Kansas City for a couple weeks now. After Kansas City inexplicably lost the first game of the year at home to Tennessee, they've gone 6-2, and they've played a pretty decent schedule. So Kansas City, although I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, they look like they could be a playoff team. Kansas City looks like a decent team to me, and I've been saying it for weeks. Very tough loss for the Bills. You're up 13-3 in the fourth quarter in your building. Very tough loss for them. I still don't believe in Orton. I still think you can't go very far with him. The Bills battled yesterday. I mean, they were right there in this game, but they fell a little short. Let the lead slip away. Nice win by Kansas City. Tough loss for the Buffalo Bills. Let's go to Detroit, where the Detroit Lions do it again. They come back and beat the Miami Dolphins 20-16. Detroit up to 7-2, and they are leading their division. Dolphins down to 5-4. Stafford again with the game-winning touchdown late in the game. Fabulous job by Detroit. Detroit is winning games this year that they would have lost in years past. How many games in a row now have they pulled out of the fire? Like 3 games in a row where they're down in the fourth quarter and they win the game. Great job by Detroit, and Detroit's defense is much improved this year. They can make stops this year. I mean, they can't, they don't have to rely on just their offense this year. The defense can make some stops. So I like what I see from Detroit. Much improved. Their attitude's much improved. They're coming back in games and actually winning the games. Really nice job by Detroit. Miami, very, very tough loss. They played good enough to win in this game. They were right there. They had a lead late, but they couldn't hang on. Very tough loss for Miami. Another great job by Detroit. Let's go to London, where the Dallas Cowboys roll over the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-17. Cowboys up to 7-3. Jaguars down to 1-9. This is just what we thought. I mean, Romo came back. Cowboys had lost 2 in a row. You figure it was going to be all Dallas fans there. Dallas had to stop their little losing streak. You figure Jacksonville was made to order for Dallas, and they were. This game wasn't even as close as the 31-17. Dallas was in complete control of this game from start to finish. Dallas back to their winning ways. You like to see that if you're a Cowboy fan. Jacksonville, hey, we knew it was going to be a long year from the start. It continues to be a long year for them. Nice job by Dallas getting a win they had to have. Let's go down to Baltimore, where the Baltimore Ravens beat the Tennessee Titans 21-7. Baltimore up to 6-4. Tennessee down to 2-7. I mean, first of all, Baltimore's defense is usually pretty solid. Again, it was solid here. Baltimore's usually good at home. They were good again yesterday. Baltimore on offense was kind of sleepwalking in this game for most of the game. Kind of picked it up a little bit in the second half. But Tennessee's offense did nothing. Tennessee had, 200 yards of total offense for the game. That's not going to do it on the road. Tennessee is an awful, awful football team. Baltimore, although the offense wasn't great yesterday, it was good enough to win. Baltimore had to have this game. Couldn't afford to lose another game, especially to a bad Tennessee game at home. So Baltimore, even though they weren't overly impressive, they got the job done, got a much-needed win. All right, let's go to New Orleans. Fabulous game here, where the San Francisco 49ers beat the New Orleans Saints 27-24. Niners up to 5-4. New Orleans down to 4-5. What a win for the San Francisco 49ers. If you look back on the season, if the Niners do something big this year, look at this game. First of all, the Niners led early in this game. The Niners led for a lot of this game. The Saints rally. The Saints take a 24-21 lead late in the game. Niners have the ball very late in the game. The Niners have a 4th and 10 deep in their own territory. Kaepernick is scrambling. He almost got sacked, and he launches a 50-yard pass down the field to Crabtree. Crabtree gets behind the secondary. I don't know what the New Orleans secondary was doing there. Let Crabtree catch the ball. That sets up the game-tying field goal. We go to overtime, and the Niner defense comes up big. They strip Drew Brees, caused the fumble. Niners recover and kick the game-winning field goal and get out of New Orleans with a very impressive win. Tremendous job by New Orleans. By San Francisco. Tremendous job by the Niners. I mean, they forced 3 New Orleans turnovers yesterday. Niner defense stepped up in a big way, and Kaepernick, what a pass there at the end of the fourth quarter. I mean, I thought he was going to go down and take a sack. He launches a 50-yard bomb to Crabtree. That set up the game-winning field goal, and the Niner defense in overtime comes up huge. Niners, very, very big win. Had to have it. They're now 5-4. They're back in the thick of things. Now, they still got work to do. They still have a lot of work to do, but they had to have this game. They got it. New Orleans, hey, listen, they're 4-5. They're still right atop their division. I mean, the winner of that division is probably going to be 8-8. I mean, the division is lousy. We know Tampa is awful. I'll get to Atlanta in a second. Carolina plays tonight. But that division is lousy. So New Orleans, I mean, even though it's a disappointing loss, they could still afford a loss at this point considering how bad the division is. But this was about the Niners yesterday. Impressive road win for San Francisco. Look back on that Kaepernick play at the end of the year. If the Niners do something, that could be the play that turned their season. Great job by San Francisco. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, not too far from here. Oh boy, where the New York Jets beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-13. Jets up to 2-8, Steelers down to 6-4. What planet were the Steelers on yesterday? What planet were the Steelers on yesterday? This is a team that had won 3 in a row. This is a team that scored basically 100 points the last 2 weeks. Bombed Indianapolis. Bombed Baltimore. Roethlisberger's setting records for touchdown passes. The offense looks unstoppable. They come on the road and they lay a complete egg at the Meadowlands. Pittsburgh, 4 turnovers. Jets, no turnovers. Pittsburgh misses a 20-yard field goal. Pittsburgh can't get in the end zone. Had all sorts of red zone issues yesterday. I mean, Pittsburgh, at one point this game was 20-6, and the Steelers threw a bomb late in the game to cut it to 20-13. Do you realize up until the very end of the game the Steelers couldn't score a touchdown against the Jets? And give the Jets credit. They were 1-8 coming into this game. They battled. I mean, nice win for the Jets. They didn't, fold their tent. They didn't pack up. I mean, they came to play. They won the game. Good job by the Jets. Pittsburgh, what an atrocious loss by you. You had such a momentum there for 3 straight weeks. Such a high momentum. You had won 3 in a row. You were scoring left and right, and then you lay a complete dud here. I mean, terrible job by the Steelers. I remember the Steelers. I told you this last week. This is why I didn't pick this game. The Steelers barely beat Jacksonville on the road, and they lost to Tampa at home. The Steelers are capable of these type of games. And this is the type of game that shows me this about Pittsburgh. They're not an elite team. Maybe they're a pretty good team. Maybe they're a fringe playoff contender. They are not an elite team. Not when you lose to Tampa at home, not when you barely beat Jacksonville, and not when you lose to the Jets on the road. I'm sorry. You have to beat the Jets on the road. This was an awful loss by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deplorable loss. I don't know what planet they were on. And Roethlisberger, even though, his completions and yardage looked pretty good, he had 2 awful interceptions yesterday. So I didn't think he played all that great either. He had 2 terrible turnovers. Steelers, 4 turnovers. Not going to get it done. Awful loss by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very disappointed in them. Let's go down to Tampa Bay, where the Atlanta Falcons beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-17. Falcons up to 3-6. Tampa Bay down to 1-8. Falcons snapped their 5-game losing streak, and look at this. The Falcons are 3-6. They're a game out of first place. New Orleans 4-5. The Falcons are 3-6. Atlanta is 1 game behind New Orleans. Are you kidding me? Atlanta has 3 wins. 2 of them are against Tampa Bay. That's good enough to be a game behind the division. Are you kidding me? Atlanta's a game behind the division. I mean, what a terrible division. New Orleans under 500. Atlanta under 500. Tampa's awful. Carolina's stumbling, bumbling. They're under 500. They play tonight. I think they're going to lose tonight. Are you kidding me? Atlanta's 1 game under 500. Hey, give Atlanta credit yesterday. They did win. They beat Tampa again. But, I mean, are you kidding me? 1 game behind New Orleans for the division. And Tampa Bay is an awful football team. Let's go out to Oakland, where the Denver Broncos rout the Oakland Raiders 41-17. Denver up to 7-2. Oakland down to 0-9. This is just what I thought. I told you guys last week, Denver lost last week. They were embarrassed up in New England. Peyton Manning was embarrassed. They were going to come out and take it all out on Oakland. They did. Total yards for the game. Denver 471, Oakland 222. This was a mashing. This was a blowout. I mean, Oakland had no chance in this game. It was close very early in the game. Denver blew them out in the second half. So Denver rolls. They're back to their winning ways. They're up to 7-2. Let's go out to Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals beat the St. Louis Rams 31-14. Arizona, best record in football, 8-1. St. Louis 3-6. First of all, Palmer looks like he's out for the year with a torn ACL. Are you kidding me? Palmer again hurt. They just signed him to an extension. Arizona was looking like a real Super Bowl contender. Best record in the NFL, and now you lose your quarterback for the year. Stanton came in yesterday, played well. As a matter of fact, when Stanton came in yesterday, Arizona was losing. He rallied the troops, but how far can you go with Stanton? You have to have Palmer in there. You have Super Bowl aspirations, got to have Palmer in there. If Palmer's out for the year, do I think Arizona can still make the playoffs? Yes. Do I think they can get to the Super Bowl? No. So Palmer, what a terrible injury. Hate to see that. He's had such bad luck with injuries. Just a terrible loss for Arizona. St. Louis, typical of them. They play one good half, one bad half. You know the deal with St. Louis. So we'll see if Carson Palmer's out for the year. It looks like he is. Let's go out to Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks beat the New York Giants 38-17. Seattle up to 6-3. Giants down to 3-6. Believe it or not, the Giants were winning this game 17-14 at the half. The second half was all Seattle. It started raining in the second half out there in Seattle, and the rain just washed away the Giants. Seattle beat up on the Giants in the second half. Seattle actually played a very nice second half of this game. You like to see that from Seattle after they looked very sloppy in the first half. The Giants, I mean, they're just a dead carcass. Their season's over. You're not going to get much from the Giants the rest of the year. Seattle, they're 6-3, still not firing on all cylinders for a complete game. They show you bits and pieces, but it's just not the same as last year. Something is missing from Seattle. Now, they're right there for the playoffs. I mean, they're right there for everything, but they're just not the same team to me, Seattle. Something is missing. All right, out to Green Bay we go. This was the Sunday night game, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, where the Green Bay Packers just tattoo the Chicago Bears 55-14. Packers up to 6-3, Bears down to 3-6. This game was 42-0 at the half. Aaron Rodgers had 6 touchdown passes in the first half. This is a classic historic rivalry. Chicago, where were you? You couldn't hang in this game. You couldn't score a point in the first half. You made the Green Bay defense look like the steel curtain. Are you kidding me, Chicago? How bad have the Bears become this year? They are atrocious. They're bad on defense. They're bad in special teams. The new coach has done a terrible job. Now their offense can't score. I mean, this was an embarrassment. Chicago, you should be embarrassed. I mean, what a terrible job by them. Green Bay, after the slow start to this year, is playing really good football. Now, they're still chasing Detroit. They're still a game behind the Lions. Green Bay, though, is playing really nice football. They bombed the Bears. This game was over in the second quarter. Nice job by Green Bay. You're playing well. Chicago, embarrassing. All right, and the Thursday night game, speaking of embarrassing, the Cleveland Browns go into Cincinnati and beat the Bengals 24-3. Browns up to 6-3. Bengals down to 5-3-1. The Browns are in first place. For the first time in 20 years, the Browns are in first place. Congratulations, Cleveland. You waited a long time. No sports city has suffered more than Cleveland in all sports, whether it be the Indians or the Browns or the Cavaliers. Maybe things are turning around for you now. The Browns are in first place. You got LeBron James back. Maybe things are turning around for Cleveland. Nice job by Cleveland. They bombed Cincinnati in this game. Cleveland dominated this game from the start. They looked like they wanted it more. Cincinnati was in a fog in this game. I've never seen a team play a worse game at home for a big game. This was a big game, division lead on the line, and Cincinnati was atrocious at home. And how bad was Andy Dalton? How bad was Andy Dalton? 10 for 33 for 86 yards. Let me say it again. 10 for 33 for 86 yards. And I don't want to hear about the wind. I know it was windy there. It didn't stop Hoyer from playing well. The Browns won in every aspect of this game. They wanted it more. The Bengals looked like they were asleep at the wheel in this game. And Dalton, 10 for 33 for 86 yards. I mean, come on. I could get one of you guys to play quarterback and have better numbers than this. I mean, 10 for 33 for 86 yards. I mean, I still can't wrap my head around it. Great job by the Browns. Terrible job by Cincinnati. And of course tonight you have Carolina at Philadelphia. Very big game for both teams, believe it or not, including Carolina. Carolina is still alive for this whole division despite them playing lousy football. The Saints are under 500, so Carolina, they're right there. It's a very big game for Carolina. Of course, Philly and Dallas fighting for the division. Of course, Philly without their quarterback. We'll see how Sanchez plays tonight. So that was your NFL over the weekend. As far as the college football over the weekend, Mississippi State and Florida State win. Texas A&M shocks Auburn at Auburn, 41-38. I was shocked by the score. Auburn at home lost to Texas A&M. This was a Texas A&M team that had been blown out by Mississippi, by Mississippi State. I mean, Texas A&M got bombed by Alabama. They were losing games left and right. They barely beat Louisiana Monroe. They're playing without their starting quarterback, and they go into Auburn and upset Auburn. And how many mistakes did Auburn make? 3 turnovers, too late in the game, deep in A&M territory. How about at the end of the half? The blocked field goal by A&M, they run it back for a touchdown. So Auburn played an atrocious game. That puts them out, I think, of the SEC West and the Final Four playoff. I think Auburn is done. Nice win by A&M. I never saw this coming. I thought Auburn would rout them here. A&M had been blown out 3 of the last 4 weeks, as I mentioned. Never saw this coming at all. I just cannot believe Texas A&M went into Auburn with their backup quarterback and won this game. So I was shocked by that game. Nice job by A&M. Auburn, you're not going to make it. As far as the other scores, Oregon went into Utah and beat Utah 51-27. Oregon still alive for everything. I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys watched this game. Utah is up 7-0 in the first half of this game. They throw an 80-yard pass, which looks like it's going to be a touchdown. The receiver is wide open. He's running into the end zone. What does he do? Drops the ball at the half-yard line, starts celebrating the end zone, thinking he's in. How many times have we seen that before? Oregon player picks it up at the 1. He gets tackled. He fumbles the ball at the 1. Another Oregon player picks it up and runs 99 yards for a touchdown. Instead of 14-0 Utah, it becomes 7-7, and the whole momentum of the game changed, and Oregon went on to win. So terrible job by the Utah receiver. How many times have we seen that where the guy's going in to score and he drops the ball and he starts celebrating, he's not even in the end zone. So terrible job there by the Utah receiver. Oregon still alive for everything. Alabama went into LSU Death Valley and escaped. Alabama won in overtime 20-13, and they absolutely escaped in this game. The game is tied 10-10 late in the fourth quarter. Alabama fumbles inside like their 20-yard line. LSU picks it up. It looks like LSU is going to go in and score, to go up 7 points. What does LSU do after they recover the fumble deep in Alabama territory? They get a personal foul call, so that's got to move them back. They end up only getting a field goal there, so they're up 3 with about a minute to go in the game. And what does the LSU kicker do on the ensuing kickoff? Kicks the ball out of bounds. So Alabama starts at the 35. They get a nice drive going. They get the game-tying field goal. Then Alabama gets the ball first in overtime. They go right into the end zone. Really nice play calling. And then LSU has a chance to tie, but I didn't like LSU's play calling. I mean, they started throwing bombs in the end zone. They started to panic there. No need to panic there. You got 4 downs. You only need a first down to start moving the sticks. They start throwing bombs in the end zone, and Alabama escapes with a win. When Alabama fumbled the ball with a little over a minute to go, I thought for sure LSU was going to score there and win the game. And then, like I said, LSU gets the personal foul. I mean, that makes him only settle for a field goal there. Then the kicker kicks the ball out of bounds. That lets Alabama have good field position and tie. And then the overtime was all Alabama. So Alabama escaped, and now Alabama, it sets up really nicely for them. All their tough road games are done. They host number 1 Mississippi State this week in Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a great game. Tremendous game. So it's all there for Alabama. If Alabama would have lost this game, they probably would have been eliminated from everything. Now it's all right there in front of them. Terrible, terrible, gut-wrenching loss for LSU. They had this game won. They let it slip away. TCU, how about TCU at home? They bombed Kansas State 41-20. TCU still alive for everything. Ohio State continues their winning ways. They go into Michigan State and drug the Spartans 49-37. Ohio State's offense has been on fire. They were struggling to score points early in the year. Now they're unstoppable on offense, and this game wasn't really this close. Ohio State kind of had their way with Michigan State. They were scoring on every possession. Nice job by Ohio State. They're going to need help to get to the Final Four because the Big Ten is so down this year. Arizona State, another team right there for the Final Four. They win at home. They blow out Notre Dame 55-31. Arizona State was up big in this game. Notre Dame came back, but then Arizona State pulled away at the end. How about Arizona State? Arizona State in a 2-week stretch got blown out at home by UCLA and then was about to lose to USC and threw a Hail Mary and won the game, turned their whole season around. And Baylor goes into Oklahoma and routs the Sooners 48-14. Oklahoma's quarterback got hurt. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Baylor right there for everything. Baylor right now probably controls its own destiny because they're going to win the Big 12 regular season title because they have the tiebreaker over TCU. Remember, there's no Big 12 title game. Baylor looks to me like they control their own destiny. And how bad has Oklahoma been this year? How disappointing has Oklahoma been this year? Bob Stoops, so disappointed in you. 48-14 in your building. Listen, Baylor's a very good team. It's no disgrace if you lost this game. You got bombed in your own building, and Oklahoma has had bad loss after bad loss this year. And I am so down on Oklahoma and Bob Stoops. I thought they were going to be a big-time team this year. They are not. So that is your college football. I'll tell you, when you look at the college football right now coming down the home stretch for that Final Four playoff, to me it looks like Florida State controls its own destiny. The winner, Alabama, Mississippi State. The winner, Arizona State, Oregon in that Pac-12 final. And then you're going to have one spot open. Could be the winner of that Big 12, Baylor, TCU. You got to lean a little bit towards Baylor, but we still have a lot of football to play. There's some big games this week. Mississippi State, Alabama is huge. Florida State at Miami. Big game. Florida State's not playing great. They're playing down in Miami. I mean, Florida State's got better talent, but they've gone there with, before with better teams and lost. Very big game this week for Florida State, so we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so that was your college football over the weekend. Real quick on the boxing, I did watch a little boxing over the weekend. Kovalov beat Hopkins. He dominated this fight. He won on a unanimous decision. I gave him every round. Knocked Hopkins down as well. Kovalov is a very rugged fighter. He's got a lot of power. Looks really, really good. I want Bernard Hopkins to retire. Listen, I just want him to retire. He's 50 years old. He's done everything he could possibly accomplish in boxing. He's involved in promoting now. You always see him with De La Hoya ringside. He should stick to that. I mean, I know he's done some great things. I love the story. Him still boxing, at 45 and 50. It may be time for him to hang it up. He got dominated in this fight. He lost every round. Took a lot of punches. Got knocked down. It was not an exciting fight. Hopkins did very little in this fight. I would like Hopkins now to retire. I worry about boxers hanging on and hanging on. I don't want to see anything serious happen to Hopkins. I like to see him concentrate on his promoting. Kovalov dominated this fight. All right, so that's kind of where you guys were as far as what happened over the weekend. By the way, as far as my picks go over the weekend, I continue to roll. College football, I was 4-1-1 against the spread. That puts me 23 games over 500 for the year against the spread in college football. The only game I lost in college football, believe it or not, was Auburn. I never thought I was going to lose that game. Yeah, I could see maybe not covering the spread. I never thought Auburn would lose outright. So 4-1-1 against the spread in my college football. That puts me 23 games over 500 against the spread. And the NFL, I picked, remember, 6 games last week. I didn't pick them all. 4-1 so far against the spread. And I picked the game tonight. I picked Philadelphia tonight. So I have a winning week in the NFL. It's either going to be 4-2 or 5-1. I think the only game I lost was the Saints. The Niners clipped me on that game. So that was the only game I lost. So that puts me, as of right now, 18 games over 500 for the NFL against the spread. So I had a very nice week in college football and the NFL. So I'm going to be back with you guys tomorrow, and we will do our NFL picks and our college picks. I was quickly looking at the spreads early last night. It looks like it could be a tough week. I got to do my homework tonight because it looks like it could be a tough week to pick college and NFL games. I got to get to it. Got to get to work tonight. Got to pick some games for you. All right, so I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. You guys are all set. You enjoy the big Monday Night Football game, Carolina at Philadelphia. You guys, thanks as always for the support. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. I will talk to you tomorrow. NFL picks and college football picks coming up. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the football. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.